Still inside the first half an hour of the 90-minute SportsMax zone for this Thursday, and we're going to talk some Europa League football now because Sevilla and AS Roma will contest the 2023 Europa League final. They confirmed qualification on Thursday following their second leg semi-final. Six-time champion Sevilla were at home taking on Juventus in semi-final one with an aggregate level, you may remember, at 1-1. Let's see how that one went.
18 home games in this competition, the Europa League. Fagioli with the Juventus corner kick, good header, Bono with the save. They've won all 6 European semi-finals they played, all in this competition. Oh, that's just hooked out, was it, by Chesney? I think it is, it's a corner. Have a look at this, brilliant, brilliant save. It's close, very close. Junior back into Angel Di Maria. Moise Kean holding the ball up nicely for Rabiot. This is a promising Juventus counter-attack. Rabiot forward. Di Maria is in and misses. Well covered by Rakitic. Acuna thinking about it. Goes for it. Oh, good effort for a 7th final. Moise Kean here. He's done really well. He turned back. Come off the post. Angel Di Maria to take. Danilo. Forward ball, Locatelli. Locatelli has reached it, and it's in the net. But the flag goes up, it's not going to count. There will be a check, of course. The way Rabiot ran away from it suggests that he suspected the offside flag was going to go up against Locatelli. Here is Leandro Paredes again. His delivery, headed down and just wide. Sevilla's throwing. Contrado's head. Rabiot. Oh, it's a chance, Vlahovic! Brilliant finish! Maybe the first touch he's had since he's came on. Rabiot's forward header, the little deflection off Loic Bade, but what about the composure? Bade's error, but brilliantly Sousa. Little error from Fernando was pounced on by Rabiot. All this one back. The always competitive Acuna. Here's Lamela. Suso away from one, hits the shot, oh, and a goal! And then watch when it comes to Suso. That is quite brilliant. That is quite brilliant. Throw in Sevilla. Suso. Dangerous ball! Oh, what a good save! En-Nesyri denied. Bade. Well read. And Juventus can come forward here. It's in towards Chiesa. Chiesa! Bono! Got it at the second attempt. Probably the best and clearest chances in the game have mainly fallen to the Italians. Heel with the cross. Good header! Sevilla lead. Hill with the cross, fantastic header. It's a Juventus throw-in taken by Kostic to Paredes, and Sevilla are heading to Budapest.
Yeah, Sevilla getting the job done there. Our football analyst Brent Sancho following the action, and he joins us now. Brent, we know you're a Juventus fan, although you would concede that Juventus aren't representing the kind of football that made you fall in love with them in the first place. But you must have felt for long periods in this game with the lead that you could have done it.
Yeah, they did have their chances, didn't they, Juventus? Certainly, if you were to judge on the first phase of the competition back in Turin, you thought this would have been a foregone conclusion, but I think that a little tweak in a tactical approach and the way they do things, and of course as well, but to the fact that they actually played a lot better than they did in Turin, and they did have their chances. But I think over the two legs, I would suggest that Sevilla is the fair winner coming out of this.
Yeah, a fabulous performance by both teams and some wonderful goals there, Brent. A lot of quality in the finishes we saw today.
Yeah, it certainly was of the highest order. Obviously, we got a treat yesterday with the Real Madrid and Man City game, and then, of course, coming today with the type of goals that we've seen. It was an open competition. I didn't expect it to be that open, to be honest, Lance. I really figured Juventus would try to control the game through sitting a bit lower. But credit to them and Allegri in terms of trying to play it a particular way. But at the end of the day, as I said, I do think Sevilla was the better team. I think at the end of the day, with it as well, the way that Sevilla plays, especially when they're at home, they are always going to be a very difficult proposition. And when the chips seemed to be down for them in this leg when Juventus went up, the fans was right there to bring them back, and that absolute scorcher there of a goal as well helped them in terms of their getting back into this football game.
Yeah, and something has to be said about the sort of affinity or the magic that Sevilla has with the Europa League, because they are mid-table in La Liga at the moment in a domestic season that hasn't been particularly impressive. Barcelona winning comfortably, so to be 10th in the La Liga table in this season does suggest that Sevilla domestically have been pretty ordinary, but somehow they find the goods on the Europe stage.
I was told that it's a Unai Emery Cup brought to you by Sevilla. No, look, it is remarkable what they do. And sometimes, as a player, when things are not going well for you in the season, and you do have a good run, a good cup run, particularly in a competition that you've had success in, you could always turn to that and put a lot of your energies and efforts in it. And I think that's what happened with Sevilla. There's a lot of belief in that football club that they will win, and rightfully so, because they've done it before. So when they get into those sorts of situations, there is a genuine belief within the entire football club that they will win. Of course, the similar could be said with Real Madrid, but sometimes those things come to an end. But it really was an effort by Sevilla over the two legs that was of the highest order. And going in, of course, to the final against Roma, you would think that they would be the favourites going into it, because, again, there is a genuine belief within the football club that they can win this tournament.
Yeah, Brent, I see in a few places today's match being referred to as a Europa League classic, and you pointed out that you expected this one to be a kind of cagey affair, and it wasn't. It was a nice open game of football. How do you rate it in terms of its overall quality, this second leg semi-final?
I think that, you know what, Ricardo, I think the quality, the players lack the quality that we saw. I can only go, of course, of what we saw yesterday. Unfortunately, they played today after we watched Man City play, of course, Real Madrid yesterday. So the quality, individual quality wasn't there, wasn't compared to what we saw yesterday. But the quality of the game in terms of both teams playing on the front foot, both teams trying to get in behind, both teams trying to break lines and players, getting in behind and trying to score goals, creating chances, a lot of goal activity, a lot of squandered chances, and just the game being played at a high octane level was very good for the neutral viewer, and it was an entertaining game from that perspective. But outside of that, I think at the end of the day, the quality that we have gotten used to, the ones that Real Madrid and Manchester City have said, wasn't there today.
Yeah, and Brent, 3 Italian clubs will be playing for European glory this year. Is that a coincidence, or is something happening?
I think Serie A has improved. They've had their downside. I think a little bit of coincidence. I don't think necessarily it's improved so much that we can sit here and say it's the best league in world football. It certainly isn't. But there has been some improvement within the individual teams. If you strip it all back and you look at an AC Milan, for example, I think they're a very, very poor team. They were very fortunate to make the run that they did, but I don't think they are certainly in my top 10 teams in Europe. What we do know about Italian teams is when it comes to cup competitions, they're quite comfortable in their skin, and we've seen that they've been cup savvy, all 3 teams, and getting to where they are today.
Yeah, okay. Semi-final 2, Brent, between Bayer Leverkusen and AS Roma ended goalless, which means second successive European final for Roma and Jose Mourinho. A tailor-made setup for Mourinho to shine, looking to protect an advantage even though he's on the road.
Listen, if it's one person that could bring the Sevilla hoodoo, it's Jose Mourinho. Because obviously, this is his backyard. This is what he's good at. This is where he revels. This is what the type of situation he likes to shine in. So I wouldn't put it past him to put together a mastermind park your bus performance for Roma. But I think they're more than parking their bus. He's been clever in the way he's done things. You know, since he's left Spurs, he's been a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit more understanding, a caring manager. When he first started, he was a players manager, and then he went into that turmoil when he was at Manchester United. Then it extended into Tottenham Hotspur, and then now at Roma, he seems to be very settled. The club seems to be settled. The players seem to be very settled as to what he wants, and we've seen that so far in the Europa League.
I hear you, Brent, as it relates to Jose Mourinho being a little bit more pragmatic, but I didn't see a lot of today's game, but I look at the statistics and I see 72% possession in this game for Leverkusen, just 28% for AS Roma. AS Roma, one shot, and it wasn't even on target. They had one corner kick for the entire game, in comparison to Leverkusen, who had 23 shots, 6 of them on target, and 5 corner kicks. It seemed to me that at least today, it was Jose being Jose.
Yeah, no, that's Jose Ball. That's it right there, the stats. And when I mean pragmatic, I mean in the sense that he has been a lot more thoughtful in being structured and being disciplined. And a lot of times he controls the game without having the football. You've seen a lot of performances this season with Roma where they've controlled football games without having the ball. That team is very comfortable not having the football. What they do have is good players in transition that can get up into the box. They have a good focal point in Abraham, who's able to score goals from nothing, and that's how they've been able to win football games. And I'm not surprised in terms of the stats of what we've seen. I think the one that jumps out and tells you it's Jose Mourinho football is 23 shots and only 6 on target.
Yeah, I was the one shot for Roma, not on target, 23 shots for Sevilla, and 6 of those on target. Does Jose Mourinho and AS Roma have what it takes to deny Sevilla a 7th Europa League title?
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. I do think so. I think out of Juventus still defensively was lacking in many departments in terms of organization and staying disciplined. One thing you're sure about, Ricardo, is that Jose Mourinho team will be well drilled, well coached, very structured, very disciplined in their approach. The question is, I don't think Sevilla necessarily have personnel within their departments to break down a Jose Mourinho team. You may point towards Ocampos and his movement and where he is, but I don't think they have that individual that can unlock an AS Roma team. And I think that is where Sevilla may struggle over. Remember, it's just 90 minutes of football, and Jose Mourinho is very capable of drawing up a plan for 90 minutes.
Yeah, he very much is. And Lance, 5 European finals for Jose Mourinho, and he's won every single one of them, trying to make it 6 from 6.
Yeah.
Are you going for Jose this time, Lance?
It's hard to deny him because based on his track record, he may not be carrying the label, a special one, as proudly as he did 10 years ago. But for one-off matches and particular assignments, he knows how to get the job done. So I would suggest that I would probably go with him, yeah.
Brent, Roma or
it's
Sevilla?
It's hard to go against him, man. It really is. As Lance said, I think when you talk about a one-off assignment and Jose Mourinho needed to draw up a plan for that specific team, he is very well prepared, he's very well coached, he would know exactly what he wants from his players. And I think more importantly, his players are very comfortable in playing in that style. He has 1 or 2 players within the ranks who is used to Jose Mourinho type football, and within the entire squad, they're happy to do it. And once you have players that are willing and happy, you have a good chance of doing well.
Yeah, very much the case. Yeah, all Jose fans here.
I wouldn't call myself a fan, but I have a lot of respect for him, yeah.
Yeah, break time, Lance. We could have ended it there.
All right, Brent, we'll talk again soon. Back with more on the zone after this, yeah.